Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship. Whether you're here in person or joining us online via Zoom, we are glad to have you here with us. I'm Reverend Tessie Mandeville, and I'll be your celebrant today. Carrie Koehnline, a longtime member of this fellowship, will be our main speaker this morning. We'll be exploring the difference between caring and carrying, and how we might care for the world and each other while also caring for ourselves. We're delighted to be sharing this with so many caring people who most likely are sometimes carrying too much. Our hope is that the service itself will bring some ease and help you to lay down some burdens. We'll begin with April Rain Song, sung by several members of the Buff Chalice Choir. And as you listen, see if you can begin to wash away some of what is heavy for you right now. As we light our chalice this morning, let's hear the poem from Francis Dorff entitled Lightening the Load. The first thing we have to do is to notice that we've loaded down this camel with so much baggage, we'll never get through the desert alive. Something has to go. Then we can begin to dump the 1,000 things we've brought along until even the camel has to go. And we're walking barefoot on the desert sand. There's no telling what will happen then. But I've heard that someone walking in this way has seen a burning bush. And let's say our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service gives it life. Celebrating our diversity and joined by a quest for truth, we work for peace and honor all creation. This is our covenant. This morning we've chosen some simple hymns that can be sung almost like chants. Repetition can calm the nervous system and help quiet our jangled minds. Our first hymn, which will be on your screen, is called Come and Find the Quiet Center. It has just one verse, but we're going to sing it 3 times. And I invite my partner, Lisa Heezen, to come up with me, and we will lead the singing today. And for this song, I invite you to remain seated. Come and find the quiet center in the crowded lives we lead. Find a room for hope to enter. Find a frame where we are freed. Clear the chaos and the clutter. Clear our eyes that we can see all the things that really matter. Be at peace and simply be. Come and find the quiet center in the crowded lives we lead. Find a room for hope to enter. Find a frame where we are freed. Clear the chaos and the clutter. Clear our eyes that we can see all the things that really matter. Be at peace and simply be. Come and find the quiet center in the crowded lives we lead. Find a room for hope to enter. Find a frame where we are freed. Clear the chaos and the clutter. Clear our eyes that we can see all the things that really matter. Be at peace and simply be. Be at peace and
The story that I have to share with you today is a very old one. I bet even your parents probably heard that when they were little, maybe told to them by their teachers or parents, grandparents, who probably heard it from their teachers, parents, or grandparents, who may have, so it may be hundreds of years old, I don't know. But today I'm going to tell it, so it's been told so many different ways. Today I'm going to tell it in honor of a special holiday that's taking place this week. It's called Passover, celebrated by the Jews here and around the world. And the Passover story has actually been told for thousands of years in different ways. The Passover story is about how, when thousands of years ago, the Jews were held as slaves in the land of Egypt and how they escaped from slavery. So it's a very serious story, but it's also an adventure. And so it's been told in thousands of different ways over the years. There's even, even some humor is brought into it. There's Hogwarts versions of this Haggadah version. I'm not kidding. There's even a Star Wars version of the Passover story, but I can't imagine anybody using Star Wars and repurposing it for something else. Anyway, so I'm going to tell the story, not the Passover story. I'm going to tell another story that leads to the Passover story, which is told when people sit around a big table to have the special meal. And at that meal, they eat a special kind of bread called matzah. Now, matzah's special. It's different because the bread you might think of is kind of big and puffy. Well, matzah is like flat and crispy. And the reason why it's flat and it doesn't rise like normal bread. Normal bread, you see, you have to let it rise and get all puffy before you bake it. But remember, the Jews were trying to escape from slavery, and so they had to run, and they didn't have time to let the bread rise. And so in honor of that, telling the ancient story, they still eat the flat bread. And so I'm going to tell about how someone got prepared for a matzah, with the matzah for the Passover dinner. So once upon a time, there was a little red hen. And the little red hen was thinking about the Passover dinner that was going to be happening quite some time later, but she was really organized. She knew that in order to have a Passover dinner, she would need matzah. And to have matzah, she would need to have flour. And to have flour, she would need to have grain that got ground into flour. And in order to have grain that got ground into flour, she would have to grow wheat. There's a gluten-free version of this also, but we'll save that for another time. So in order to get wheat, she had to plant seeds in the ground. So she had a little basket of wheat seeds. You probably have seen seeds before. And she knew that she would have to plant these over this vast field. And she thought, oy vey, that's a big field. I'm going to need some help. Oh, I'll ask my friends. She went to the sheep, and the sheep said, no. So she went to the horse, and the horse said, nay. So she went to the dog, and the dog said, no, whoa. Well, I should worry. I'll just do it myself, said the little red hen. And she did. She planted those seeds all over. And then all winter long, so that was in the fall, when you can plant some seeds that will grow over winter. And she watched the seeds grow over the months towards spring, and she was so excited. She saw them come out of the ground and grow in little grass stalks. And at the top of those stalks, there were hundreds of these little seeds, because then those wheat seeds could eventually become the matzah. And I'm going to tell you how that happened. So all of that wheat grew up into the spring, and she looked over that vast field, and she thought, oh, who's going to help me cut all of this grain? I'll turn to my friends. Yes. And she asked the sheep, and the sheep said, no. She asked the horse, and the horse said, nay. She asked the dog, and the dog said, no, whoa. We're your friends, not your servants. And the little red hen said, Frenchmen's, not a mensch among them. Now, a mensch is like a really good person. And if she said that none of her friends were mensches, well, you can tell she was getting kind of angry, a little aggravated, that she was going to have to do all this by herself. But she did. She cut down all of the wheat. And then she knew, as it was getting closer to Passover, that she would have to take the wheat to the mill to get ground into flour. And she thought, oh, the mill is way over there. Who will help me carry the wheat? Carrying is so hard. Carry, carry, carry. Who will help me? And you know what's going to happen. The sheep said, no. And the horse said, nay, 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 nay. And the dog said, no, whoa, whoa, whoa. So the little red hen said, I should live to see the day that any of these no-goodniks do an honest day's work in their life. I guess I'll just schlep the wheat all by myself. And so she did. She put it in a big sack, and she schlepped it all the way to the mill where it was ground into flour, and then she carried it all the way back home. And now it actually was Passover. She was already tired. So she helped. She had, at Passover, you need to know that according to Jewish tradition, you have to clean the whole house till it's spotless, and especially the kitchen. You have to clean out all the old breadcrumbs that might be in the littlest cracks, because remember, they're celebrating how they had to be in a hurry and they couldn't let any of the bread rise. So they even tried to get all of the old bread, to really honor what happened when they were escaping from slavery. Because escaping from slavery, that's really hard. You have to think about that, and it's a lot of work, and how you do that for yourself and make sure other people can be free too. That's something you have to think about and practice over and over and over the generations. So the little red hen, however, had a little bit of an advantage when it came to cleaning the cracks in the kitchen. Do you know what extra tool she had that most people don't have? She had a feather duster. Okay, so now it was time to bake the matzah. So she said, okay, we're getting close to dinner. Surely I can get some help. And she asked the sheep, will you help me bake the matzah? And the sheep said, no. And the horse said, nay. And the dog said, no, whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, I should starve? I can't believe these schmucks. And so, now, in Jewish tradition, you have to make the matzah pretty fast. You only get 18 minutes that it has to be made. So she mixed in the water with the flour, and she kneaded the dough, and she rolled it out in little flat circles, and she poked it all over with a fork, and then she got it into the oven. She really had to hurry. And then she had to set the table for the big Seder dinner. So she put out all the plates and all the chairs, and they even, in the tradition, put out an extra chair just in case there's a special guest who might arrive. A ding! Then she had to quick go to the oven, and she had it just in time. Oh, and then she had to make this Passover dinner, which included hard-boiled eggs and parsley and chopped up apples and nuts and gefilte fish. She had to get all that onto the table, and she put the matzah on the table, and she looked at all those empty plates and all those empty chairs, and she thought, who will help me eat my dinner? And then she heard a knock on the door. Can you guess who it was? It was the sheep and the horse and the dog. And she looked at them and she thought, the chutzpah! I can't believe they think they can. And then she remembered the words from the Passover story, which said, "Let all who are hungry come and eat." She looked at her friends. They looked hungry. So she invited them in, and they had their Passover dinner, and they told the Passover story, and they had a great nosh together. And then it was time to, yes, do the dishes. And can you guess who did that? "Not I," said the little red hen. So you can imagine her friends are the ones who did the dishes. So it did turn out okay. And maybe they sang a song after they were done. I'm going to teach you a song that you can go off and dance off to as you go off to your classrooms. It's just 3 words. It's peace is the first word, and then salam, which means peace in Arabic, and then shalom, which means peace in Hebrew. And we sing it over and over because just like that story, we have to learn over and over how we bring peace and fairness and freedom into all of our hearts. So here's how it goes. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. A little faster. Peace, salam, shalom. 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 Dance with them as they go. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Last time. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. We believe in peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Okay. So, thank you, especially visitors, for coming. If you really want to get to know us best, stay after for coffee hour, just at those doors and downstairs. We hope you'll come, and those of you on Zoom as well. After the service, you'll be unmuted, so you'll have a time to greet and get to know each other. Also, if you want to get to know more about what's going on here, go to buff.org, and you can sign up for our weekly newsletter, the Midweek Update. And downstairs for coffee hour, there will be red mugs. You might want to take one of those. If you're new, we will know then that you might be interested in a little orientation, but you can even have a very physical orientation because Gail is going to be doing a tour of the whole building. She's got a tour sign back there. And she'll be back there after the service. You can cluster around her, and they'll go through the whole building, because we want you to know where things are so you can feel comfortable taking part in any of the activities that you see printed in your order of service or in the newsletter. One of the activities that's coming up on May 11th is an AED training. That's one more thing downstairs in the social hall. You may not know, we got an AED device a couple of years ago. We want to have as many people as possible know how to use it, and so we're having a Red Cross training. The details are in your order of service. Also in a couple of weeks, when we celebrate Mother's Day, we're going to be calling it a celebration of nurturing energy. So we all have caregivers of multiple genders, and one way we're going to celebrate that is I'm inviting you to send in pictures of whomever you consider a caregiver, along with a name and their relationship to you. Send them to genia@buff.org, and we're going to have a little slideshow that celebrates all of our caregivers in our lives. And finally, even later in May, we're going to have our annual meeting. That's on May 19th, where the congregation votes on its budget for the next fiscal year and elects its board members. So please join us. Yeah.
Howdy, y'all. Good morning, good morning. I'm Barbara Tenhove, and who knows what's happening on Saturday? Woohoo! Okay. Well, this is Buff's biggest fundraiser, and I want to urge all of you to participate. Now, think about the money that you might spend on going out to eat, getting support for your garden, or buying a gift for your mom. And instead of spending it at a store or a restaurant, spend it here at Buff. So here's some important things you need to know today. Everyone who has registered or bought a ticket to the auction should have received an email this morning with a code to help you access the website, because online bidding only begins at noon today, goes through the end of Wednesday, midnight Wednesday. If you have questions about online bidding, you can stop by our tables, which are in the foyer or downstairs. Most items are available for early online bidding, but some great things will only be at the in-person event. Now, we have over 100 tickets sold. Woohoo! But if you have not bought a ticket, they can be purchased today in person or online. And while there will be tickets at the door, we so appreciate you buying them in advance because it helps with our planning. And if you can't come, bid online. Now, we're also selling raffle tickets today, and if you didn't see those cool raffle baskets, then go look at them, buy raffle tickets. That's just pure, beautiful money for Buff. So just buy your raffle tickets. Now, please think about inviting your friends to either attend the event or to bid online. We have so much good stuff. And you can see a lot of the items on the big screen. You saw some before the service. You'll be able to see some after church today. On this screen or downstairs on the TV monitor. Oh, actually, Annie's sick. Annie's daughter's sick, so the TV monitor will not be showing it, but it will be at the auction. Finally, out-of-this-world costumes are great, and if you wear a costume and want to participate in the costume parade, you will receive a free raffle ticket, and the winner of the costume parade gets 10 raffle tickets. Whoa, so can we say, whoa, whoa. And then what are we saying about our wonderful day? May the 4th be with you at 4:30 p.m. here at Buff. Woohoo!
Hello. So I'm up here to let you know that this past week, actually on Friday, was the International Lesbian Visibility Day. There was a whole week of uplifting LGBTQIA women and non-binary people of every generation from every country around the world. Although I suspect in every inch of every nation, there are people who are hiding their identity to keep themselves safe, even in 2024. The first Lesbian Visibility Day was in 1990. I was 40, raising 2 daughters in what was called a committed relationship, because there was no such thing as marriage for lesbians. And I had no idea there was a Visibility Day, because I was working pretty hard to be invisible as a middle school counselor in a public school. Before I go any further, I would like to acknowledge that making myself invisible to be safe and to keep my job was a privilege of a white woman who could pass. Many, many queer folks can't do that. No one who's black can do that. No one who's brown can do that. I am privileged. Back then, I sometimes intentionally made myself visible to people I loved and trusted that I thought would love me back no matter what. I chose to come out because hiding and carrying all of that homophobia secretly inside of me made me sick and depressed. Most often, those folks accepted the whole of me. And there were times when I was shunned, or worse, prayed for. It's much better in 2024 for some of us in some parts of the world. For example, I'm standing up here talking with you, and look around. This place is loaded with lesbians. We're leading services. We're serving on the board. We're singing in the choir. We're sitting in the pews next to straight people who love us. How did we get here? It wasn't easy. It was hard fought. Many, many incidences of bravery as we quietly and sometimes loudly busted out of that closet, so to speak, risking our safety, our jobs, and families to be seen. Every single lesbian has a story. Here's one for a chuckle. So back in 1990, Steph and I were refinancing our house. It was right around the first Lesbian Visibility Day. Back then, you had to go in person to a building, a financial institution that was lending you the money to pick up your check, which was that piece of paper that counted as money back then. So I stood in the lobby hanging out with fellow homeowners waiting to be called. And when I heard them say Stephanie Rains, I popped up to the counter. The clerk asked me if I was Stephanie Rains, and I said, no, I'm Len Skavdahl. The woman studied me for quite a while with this just extremely puzzled look. Like you could see the gears were turning, but she couldn't quite figure it out. And finally, in a very tentative voice, she said, so you're the husband? I studied her for a little while, too. And then I finally said, something like that. And I gently picked the check out of her hand, turned on my heels, and walked out the building. Yesterday, Stephanie and I bought a car at a car dealership. We were just regular people. The salesperson, man, handed us the keys, gave us a hug, and we went on our way. So there's progress for you.
Good morning. So, my nickname is Carrie, and maybe that's why I've become so interested in how much we're all carrying around. For decades, I've made part of my living focused on supporting people in clearing their clutter from their homes, heads, hearts, and schedules. I help to create some space for them to pause and take a look at what's accumulated, what's essential, what's a treasure, and what has become a burden that is weighing them down or holding them back. It's so easy to take on heavy loads without even realizing it. Pretty soon your back is bent over with the weight of it, especially if you're a caring person who has a tendency to say yes. As caring human beings, we often take on each other's burdens. That's not a bad thing. In an emergency, we carry people from burning buildings. When someone is too weak, sick, young, or unprepared to carry something on their own, it can be right and appropriate to carry it for them. Sometimes, even if it's uncomfortable, stressful, or inconvenient, you are the one who needs to step forward to take responsibility to be sure the person gets what they need, the project gets finished, the bills get paid. Sometimes carrying is what love looks like. To carry something means to take it on fully. It's important and necessary, but it's also heavy work. We feel the weight of it. So we need to be discerning about what we're carrying. Most of the burdens that we take on aren't really meant to be lugged around by us alone forever. At some point, we need to lay them down or hand them back, share them or pass them on. If we don't find ways to unload them, we run the risk of getting sick, getting burned out or exhausted, resentful, being like the little red hen, who in the version of the story I grew up with, angrily ate all the bread herself. And really, can you blame her? No one wants to have to carry it all the time. So here's something I've noticed. It's amazing how quickly we take on burdens that we can't possibly handle. For example, it's not your job to lose sleep every night trying to fix the whole world's problems, or to exhaust yourself by trying to make sure everyone is happy and making good choices all the time. Burdens like that just need to be dropped to the ground. If you try to load them onto your camel, you'll never make it through whatever desert you're trying to cross. Another thing I've noticed is that many of us hang on to burdens far longer than we need to. It may be hard for you to catch up to the reality that your child has grown and matured and is capable of more responsibility. You might be slow to grasp that the sick person needs a bigger circle of support, or that your aging relative has gotten past a crisis and is needing less help from you and more of a sense of their independence and agency. And if you've got good skills and ideas, it may be hard to admit that you need some help with a project or commitment here at Buff. It's not that you need to stop caring about that project, but you may need to stop carrying it. Sometimes that's what self-care looks like. Carrying and caring are not the same thing. You can care about a person, an issue, a project without it being so weighty. Once you can't admit that you can't do it all, once you get that burden off your back and lighten your load, there's the possibility that some energy and perspective can emerge. And there may be a little more space to ask yourself in a fresh way, do I still care about this? And if so, what is the best way for me to express my caring at this time? When you're less burdened, creativity can be unleashed. You can share more effectively and collaboratively. It can come more from a place of love and inspiration and less from a place of duty and pressure. Sometimes it's just not all up to you. And once it's clear that you won't be carrying the whole load, others can come forward with their unique ideas and superpowers. You get to be part of a greater fabric of caring. And sometimes that's what beloved community looks like.
This next song is called Loosen, Loosen, and the lyrics will be up on the slide. It has two voices. Lisa and I are going to teach them to you one at a time, and then we'll all get to sing them together, and you can choose which voice you'd like to sing. And the invitation is to rise in body or spirit and practice doing a little loosening with our bodies as we sing, Loosen, Loosen, baby. Loosen, loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. One more time. Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Please be seated.
Good morning. My name is Francie Gass. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a member of our Interweave Committee. One of our projects as a welcoming congregation is to encourage the use of pronoun pins or putting your pronouns on your name pin. Some of you may wonder, why? So let me explain a little bit. Those of us who are cisgender, which means that we identify with the gender that was assigned to us at birth, don't think about gender or pronouns much at all, which is totally understandable. We are the majority in our society, and it is arranged with us in mind. We are able to move through our days without being misgendered, without being questioned, without getting strange looks, and without being blocked from using the bathroom of our choice. As a parent of a trans woman and as an advocate with PFLAG, I've learned the importance of showing respect and caring for those among us who are not cisgender. If we all make our pronouns known and don't make assumptions based on appearance, we normalize the practice and don't other some people. Now, Carrie has more to say. Corey, sorry. Not Carrie.
Hi, so my name's Corey. My pronouns are they and them, but it's not going to ruin my day if I get called something else, as long as I know you're trying your best. So I personally think that when cis people use their pronouns, when cis people wear a pronoun button or introduce themselves with their pronouns, that is one of the, it's one of the most helpful markers of allyship that you can really do, because it's, you know, it lumps you in with those people, whoever those people, you know, if a words 1 minute. It's a reminder to you and to everyone else that gay and non-binary people exist, and also I don't know, it makes me feel safer when cis people use their pronouns. I identify as genderqueer, which to me means my gender does not make any sense to me or to anyone else, and it doesn't really have to. And it's important that we can talk about pronouns and ask about pronouns and all that.
Remember our covenant, we celebrate diversity.
Thank you, Francie and Corey. We keep learning more about how to care for each other. So these days we get lots of messages that everything is dire and hopeless. It's so distressing. We want our families to be loving, healthy, and functional. Our government and political systems to be just and effective. Our fellowship to be a loving community, a force for good, and have a balanced budget. We want a healthy planet and a more peaceful, loving world. But so much seems to be out of balance and out of whack and complicated. If you're a caring person, you may be trying to carry too much. If you're a sensitive person, you may be feeling bombarded by all of it. Maybe you're so overwhelmed you don't know what to care for, or you doubt you have anything useful to add. How can we care for each other while caring for ourselves? And how do we express our caring without trying to carry it all? I just keep coming back to this quote from the Vietnamese Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh. When the crowded Vietnamese refugee boats met with storms or pirates, if everyone panicked, all would be lost. But if even one person on the boat remained calm and centered, it was enough. It showed the way for everyone to survive. I wrote a poem inspired by that quote, which I shared with you a few weeks ago. Su Livingston heard it and then asked me for the words and for permission to create a song from them. So of course I said yes. The song is called "We Are in This Boat." We're going to share it with you now to lead us into a time of meditation. And I do have a cold, so I'm going to do my best.
We are in this boat together. We are in this boat. We are in this boat together.
All around us, things are upsetting and uncertain. Some of us are not feeling well.
Some of us have loved ones in dire waters.
All around us, things are upsetting and uncertain. Still, we can be a calm presence in each other's boats.
We are in this boat.
We are in this boat together.
We are in this boat.
We are in this boat together.
Some of us have loved ones in dire waters.
Some of us are feeling afraid.
We can help each other breathe.
We can help each other breathe.
And quiet and do what needs be done. All we can do is let love
speak to us and through us. Speak to us and through us. We can be a calm presence in each other's boats.
We are in this boat.
We are in this boat together.
We are in this boat.
We are in this boat together. Right now, in this moment, I invite you to breathe and quiet. Just for now, take a break from saving the world or figuring anything out. You don't have to have any answers. Take off the giant backpack of worries and obligations and set it on the ground. Loosen the weight of the world from your muscles and bones. Let your thoughts come and go. Let your emotions come and go. Let them ride on your breath as you rest for a moment. We are in this boat. We are in this boat together. All around us, things are upsetting and uncertain. Some of us are not feeling well. Some of us have loved ones in dire waters. Some of us are feeling afraid. Still, we can be a calm presence in each other's boats. We can help each other breathe and quiet and do what needs to be done. All we can do is let love speak to us and through us. We can be a calm presence in each other's boats. We are in this boat. We are in this boat together. Now, while Sue plays for a couple minutes, think about something or someone you care about and sit with this question. Breathe into this question. What is one way I can express my caring at this time? Amid all that's confusing and unclear, did any clarity emerge for you? If so, you might want to tell someone about it at coffee hour or to a loved one later today. Thank you.
And now, as we're in this space of awareness that we are truly in this boat together, I invite you to give what you are able to give to keep this boat afloat. The morning offering will now be gratefully received. And for those of you on Zoom, there'll be a slide that you'll see that gives instructions on how you can give if you're able to do so. You for giving all the ways that you give here at Buff and to Buff. We are truly grateful. As Carrie said, one of the ways that we show love is by carrying things for each other. And there's a way to show love also about stepping back when it is time to care for yourself. And so Carrie asked me to offer a reflection on that. So I'm going to offer it to you today in the form of a pantoum poem that I wrote. The poem is entitled, "And Yes." I live with a hunger for more, and I'm learning to honor my limits. There is no shortage of issues to address. And yes, there are times when my chronic pain and life of managing doctor's appointments means I can no longer do it all. There is no shortage of issues to address. In the first half of my life, I focused on addition, carrying more and more. There are times when my chronic pain and life of managing doctor's appointments means I can no longer do it all. In the second half of my life, I am focused on subtraction, laying down what's no longer mine to carry. In the first half of my life, I focused on addition, carrying more and more. I'm doing different math now. In the second half of my life, I am focused on subtraction, laying down what's no longer mine to carry. I am carrying less, but I do not care less. I'm doing different math now. And yes, I am carrying less, but I do not care less. I live with a hunger for more, and I'm learning to honor my limits. I offer that to you this morning as an invitation that you will find ways to recognize your own limits and to honor those as well. It is time to sing our closing hymn. It's going to be in the gray hymnal, number 131, but the lyrics are also going to be on the slide. So let's rise in body and spirit with the invitation to let love guide our decisions on what we're caring for and about and what we're picking up and carrying. Lisa, you want to come up? All right.
Oh
Now, as we go from this place, making choices about what to carry and what to lay down, finding our best ways to care for all that we care about, may we let love guide us. And may we include the world, each other, and ourselves in our circle of love. May it be so. We extinguish this chalice, but keep that love alive in our hearts until we see each other again. Now let's form a big outer circle and a smaller inner circle and sing our closing song, Circle Round for Freedom. If you know it, sing it, and if not, let yourself be serenaded and know that you're still part of the music around you.
I can lift this arm about that.